Hello and welcome to another episode of the En Route to Discovery podcast. Thank you for tuning in. We're very excited. Mia and I, we have some very special guests here. Not only are they special people, they're beautiful in every sense of the matter, but we're so happy and blessed to call them friends. We'll get into that in a minute and introduce you. But Mia, you want to say hello to our friends back home?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning into the En Route Discovery podcast, and I'm super excited to have you here today.
Well, today is a very special episode. We don't always get to do this in person and literally on site today, but we are on site and with our friends. And I am going to butcher the intro of this beautiful power couple, but they are entrepreneurs in every sense of the word. They have started businesses in all kinds of different disciplines. We're going to talk to them about their photography business that they started in 2013 that is still thriving today. Both are yoga instructors and certified yoga instructors, and they host retreats throughout the year, which are amazing. Ali, who you're going to meet in a minute, is also a Reiki master and a healer. Nick does breath work, and like I say, they're into so many things. They have Patreon communities, they have scalar wave technology businesses, they have all kinds of different things. But with no further ado, I'd love to welcome two of the most beautiful souls in this beautiful earth of ours is Ali Payetta and Nicholas Gonko. So welcome to the pod, guys.
Thank you so much for the beautiful introduction for having us.
I butchered it. I know
honored.
I butchered it, but we'll get into
all.
that as we go along here.
No, we're so happy to be here. Thanks, Jimmy and Mia, for having us.
Thank you for welcoming us into your beautiful home. And I know that you have your beautiful dog just watching, chilling. Yogi's over there as well, and baby to be. So it's a very exciting day for us to be able to talk to you both. And I think we should jump right into it with a question right off the top. You're into so many things. You're into like all of these different things that I said, and I'm sure we'll open up very shortly about that. But it sounds like entrepreneurship just kind of runs through your blood. So tell me a little bit. I know you grew up in Northern Ontario. So tell me a little bit about family life. Is your family a family of entrepreneurs? And maybe we'll start with Ali. Tell me about what it was like growing up. Were you around entrepreneurship?
Yeah, entrepreneurship is a big thing in my family that I was around since I was born. The day actually my sister was born, my dad became an entrepreneur because he had to quit his job to attend the birth. And he was 26 years old at the time. And ever since, he's just been a serial entrepreneur of different businesses. Him and my mom have always been self-employed. So they've been such big support system for us and myself and in our journey and my journey, which has been such a blessing to learn from. Actually, two of my dad's siblings are also self-employed. My grandfather is self-employed. My sister's self-employed. So entrepreneurship is definitely runs in the family for sure.
I can definitely relate to that. I come from a big family of entrepreneurs. How about you, Nick? Were you around it growing up, entrepreneurship?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, both my parents work together as well. They own multiple restaurants up in Sudbury, where I'm from. We owned at 1.4 restaurants at one time. So my dad was kind of all over the place. And he was also working for my uncle, who was also an entrepreneur, owned a paper company. So my dad helped him with his company. And then he had 4 restaurants. And now both my parents run it's like a network marketing company. They own their own business and their own structure through what they do, but it's something they run together, which is an interesting company. It's a wellness company called Melaleuca.
Fantastic. And all of our fans at home know that we always have a theme for our podcasts. And today is a special theme, and for many reasons. And I think as our conversation will go on, our audience at home will see that. But today's theme is practice love every day. And we've been blessed to know you for about 2 years now. And I see it in your daily life, your personal life and everything. And I hope we get today and try to, you guys keep it in mind. I'd love to kind of intertwine that theme of practicing love every day. And today's theme could have easily been health and wellness. And I'm sure we can get into some of that and entrepreneurship, of course. But Mia, I'm going to go over to you with next question. I know that you had some questions in mind. Anything that you want to ask Ali or Nick off the top?
Yes, I actually had a question. Would you like to tell me what you were like when you were my age, like early teens or?
Yeah, and I'm curious about that too, because I know growing up I was kind of entrepreneurial myself, and I know when she was asked, we were figuring out some questions we want to ask you. She was really specifically thinking about you with this one, Allie, but I'm kind of leaning towards hearing Nick's, but in your teenage years, for anybody that's listening at home, were you a good student? Were you more of a bookworm, or did you always like kind of tinker with things? Tell us a little bit about what it was like to be a teenager.
Yeah,
Allie.
I mean, thinking back to the teenage years, I was a good student in school. That was important to me. But definitely what got me through school was athletics and sports. And my friends. That was the biggest thing that I loved in school. I definitely knew from a young age, I was definitely more of like an artistic brain versus a math and science brain. It wasn't really my forte in those areas. And especially with my dad being an entrepreneur, my sister is very intelligent. She's the math and science. She's an accountant. And my dad now is part owner of the Barrie Colts, and he's done different marketing and different businesses that he's had. But he was always trying to encourage us to get into business and think about the things that we were connected to. And I always did dream about being a photographer. When I was your age, I actually thought I was going to be a teacher. That was something that I was going to school for, and I did go to school for. And I always thought, though, that I would do something more kind of self-employed throughout the summers. But I struggled, I think, when I was your age and in teenage years, more with my confidence of thinking that I could do something like that. But when I met Nick, that was such a big thing of like what he brought to my life as well. And photography did end up becoming what I started my first business in, and came back to the arts of what I was so connected to. I was very much like you, Mia, as a child. I love crafting and creating and working with my hands and painting. And I just dreamed of being a photographer, but it just didn't seem like, I think back then, it didn't seem like that was even maybe a realm of possibility. It's not something, I think, especially in the arts, that is really talked about a lot, especially when you're in school. So again, it was so encouraging to have my family as I got older and graduated university, and I told my dad what I wanted to do. My parents were really supportive of supporting that and getting me back to my roots of when I was a teenager and your age, when I dreamt of being a photographer.
I think that's very important. As an entrepreneur myself, and just having the support of a family is amazing. I know in some cultures, some of the friends that I have, there's this path that you have to take. Mm-hmm. And I've always been a believer, and I think this is because of the way I was raised, and it sounds like the same with you, is that it was like, try things new, go what you're passionate about, and go where you're going to be happy. And I think too many times today we're talking about, what can you do, climbing the ladder and going and accumulating as much, but people don't focus on grounding themselves and thinking about what they're passionate in and where they want to spend their energy, because I think that's a big thing. And I know with the two of you, energy and grounding and taking a step back is a big thing. But Nick, how about your teenage years? Were you always entrepreneurial, or were you a good student, or, were you active and sporty? I'm getting some giggles there, so I'm curious to know. What was
hard to say.
Nick like?
I was a very good student. I definitely was attentive in school to some degree or another. I didn't enjoy school, to be completely honest with you. My high school experience was similar to Allie's. I got through by sports and friends, and I wasn't a huge lover of the academic side and the systematic side of that as well, too. So a lot of it was pushing me towards post-secondary math and science, a lot of work in that sense, and I just couldn't stand math. I didn't really like the science side of it either. And school for me was... not to say like I was a bad student. I got through. I was an honor student. I had a 75 average, I think, when I graduated in grade 12, which was pretty good for me considering. But I knew I wanted to do something that was like helping people. Like my mom would ask me certain situations, like, what do I think I want to do? And I'm like, well, maybe like I'll be a psychiatrist. Like I like helping my friends. I really liked when they came to me for questions, I could help them with a problem they had with a girlfriend, or I helped them with something to do in the gym or something like that. And it was something that I was like, I want to do something where I'm going to provide some kind of a service. But I was all over the place. Like I honestly thought out of high school, I had friends of mine I was working up, so I'm from Sudbury, which is the nickel capital of the world. And the nickel mine there is very popular. So a lot of guys there are working, and they make lots of money in the mines. But it's a dirty and it's a grueling job. And I told my mom one day, you know, out of high school, I'm going to become a miner. I'm going to make $100,000 a year, and I'll buy my own house, and I'll have this kind of, you know, set up. I'm going to have a truck and the whole deal. And she's like, no, you're not, that's not for you. That's not your path. And you don't have to do that. And I'm like, why not? She's like, you always said you were going to do something better and provide something for somebody. And she's like, in our background, like, we provide more of an entrepreneurial kind of setup. So she was very much, and I was also very much into acting, and I was in plays and stuff like that through high school, and I was an athlete. So I got through arts as well as athletics. And not long after high school, I moved to the city and I got a modeling agency. So I kind of jumped into my own career at a pretty young age out of high school, and I had my own modeling business. So I was traveling around and I was modeling, and I had to organize, you know, my own books, so to say. I had to market myself however I could, go to different agencies, go to different major capitals around the world. And I kind of got a feel for it right then and there. So it was my own business. Like, I created my own business based off myself. And something that I think you and I, Mia, were talking about when we just did our last hike, and something that Ali and I talk about often, and I've talked about with my parents back in the day, is that entrepreneurs are very interesting because they create their own work. Not many people who go work for somebody, or say a government worker, they're working for somebody else, or they're working for the system. Whereas I always thought it was super fascinating to say, one day I want to create my own job. And I'm still waiting for my thank yous from the government on that one to create that money for me, because you know, we are literally creating capital, and we are creating money off an idea that we had. And this is what many people do all the time too. You know, Elon Musk had an idea once upon a time, and he said, I'm going to create PayPal, or I'm going to create Tesla, or, you know, we want to become photographers, and we're going to create a service to provide for people in our lives. And we can therefore create our own money that way, and create something that we were very passionate about. So passionate through the art side of acting and modeling, then progressed into photography with Ali, because I was a big fan of photography as well on the other side of the camera. And when Ali and I met, it was something that just worked really well. I loved that she was into photography. I was kind of into it myself, not from a professional standpoint, but she said it was something she wanted to do, and I totally supported her in that. And yeah, I jumped right into it with her as well too.
That's fantastic. There's so much to unpack that I want to grab out of both of those. But you did mention Elon, and Elon's always known for kind of having so many things on the go. We see him with Starlink and, you know, SpaceX and Twitter and X or whatever. You guys remind me of like mini Elons. I know Elon's in a class of his own, but you have so many things going on. And one of the things, I do a lot of coaching and mentoring, and we always tell young entrepreneurs, you know, stay focused on one thing and you can expand from there. But as an entrepreneur, I know your mind is always going, you're creative, so you're always thinking of different things. And one of the problems with thinking and doing a lot of things is sometimes you kind of spread yourself too thin. And it doesn't seem that's the case with the two of you. Like, anything that you take on, it seems like you go on. So how do you manage all the different little aspects that you do? And we didn't even get into it. You live full time on the road now. Like you mentioned, you grew up in Sudbury, and then you grew up, I believe, up north, and then you went to Barrie, and then you both met. Oddly enough, even though you both come from Northern Ontario, you both met down in the Toronto area. But you both have so much going on. You're traveling all the time. You're doing things. How do you manage it? And this is a good question that gives some value to the people back home that are listening, the entrepreneurs that are thinking about starting a business. How do you do it? And is that something that I won't even start to kind of sway you, because I know where you're going to go with this one.
Help me, Jimmy. Help me with some swanks.
No, but I think this is where we could have went with the health and wellness and mind and keeping focus. So I'm going to throw it over at either one of you. How do you keep focused on and you know, prioritize is the word I guess I'm looking for.
The health specter definitely helps a little.
Oh, for sure. Well, at the beginning when we first, I started the photography business in 2013. Nick was there from the beginning. He was prioritizing his modeling at the time as his full-time work. But as he said, like he was always there from the beginning and just ended up loving it. And photography was our primary focus for a really long time. From 2013 to 2019, we were basically full-time photographers. And Nick was also able to manage. What great thing about his modeling business is it's very much a beautiful kind of part-time side gig that he gets these options, and we are flexible with our schedule during the weekdays. So we were able to balance those really well. I would say the busier we got, definitely photography businesses, I think until you are, especially wedding photography, which is what we focused on, it is so much work, and it's more work than I think more people realize. And the busier that we got, we definitely did experience what so many entrepreneurs and creative entrepreneurs experience. We did experience the burnout. We did realize that we were stretching ourselves thin. So that was really at that point where we had always thought about becoming yoga instructors. We had always done yoga. It was kind of like our way to care for ourselves during wedding season. And health and wellness just started to become a bigger part of our lives to help us manage the hardships of entrepreneurship, the ups and downs, the anxieties, the busy seasons. Especially being in Canada, your wedding season is short. So you have this time off, and then you have this incredibly busy season where you're just on the go all the time. And it was at the end of 2019 when we were both kind of struggling with this balance within our work life and our personal life that we really started getting guided into more of a health and wellness space, which is when we went to Bali and we became certified yoga instructors, which then just encouraged other parts of ourselves that we started connecting with, and other practices, which led Nick into breath work and me into Reiki and into human design, and now Nick into holistic nutrition and myself into herbalism. And it is a lot of things. But I think now finding the balance is, with our business, what has been so amazing is it is seasonal. We can be more flexible of what we want to take on and how we take on, especially because we've been in a photography business for so many years now. We've been so grateful to connect with so many amazing people that we can be flexible of what we want to take on when. And that does give us the balance. We kind of say we live in seasons. We have this wedding season in the summer months where we're focused on weddings and lifestyle work and photography, while we still manage our healing work in between that, retreats as well. And then our winter seasons are able to so much more focus on energy work. And Nick's modeling kind of just feeds into the whole season. He's able to work down here, which is amazing. He works up in Canada. It does take a lot of organization. We've got our busy calendars, and sometimes it's also learning how to say no, which I think is also a big thing in entrepreneurship that we've learned. When you get busy, you can always say yes, especially when you love it. But learning to say no and learning how we can prioritize, here's how many weddings we want to shoot. That's that income. I would like to have these days open for my energy work, having days open for Nick's modeling. And now I think we're just more in a flow of allowing things to kind of come to us, and how that's going to get shaped, especially with branching into other areas, coming into holistic nutrition. But the thing that's also kind of great about it is it all kind of works together. A lot of like the healing offerings, and also wedding photography. What has been so beautiful is it's the connections that we've made with people. And that's why we love it so much. We love photography, but meeting the people that we meet, those are the people that I do Reiki for. It's, people I've done human design readings for, people that come to our retreats. So it's just been this beautiful kind of amalgamation of everyone coming together to support the other journeys that we've kind of branched out to.
Yeah, I think it was a strong base for us to have. And we say this often to a lot of people who want to start businesses. We've actually mentored a lot. That was part of our experience as we were over 10 years of experience in photography. It kind of naturally progressed into us becoming mentors, and we were doing classes, and we actually had like year-long mentorships with people, several people, and we did some workshops as well too. Thank you. Which were amazing during all that time. And like Ali said, we kind of burnt ourselves out. So we needed to progress into something that was going to be good for us, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It was where yoga became something that we almost required in order to continue doing what we were doing. But yeah, it was a great base because like we built such a strong network in our photography business. And as Ali said, modeling was and is still my favorite part-time job I'll ever have. Like, I'll do it until I'm old and gray, and hopefully I can, because it's awesome, because it does work within our career paths of what we're doing. But it was also finding something that we were passionate about, and that's a big part of entrepreneurship, is finding something that you love to do. Like, I know, Mia, you do your necklaces and bracelets and stuff like that, and that must be something that you absolutely love. And that's a great starting point, is starting with a passion that you love, and then seeing how you can fill a need in the world of economics, and saying, okay, well, people like to look a certain way and they like to have certain bracelets, or, well, people need photography and they need to have a wedding photographer. Or in this world where a lot of people aren't so well, we're the unhealthiest we've actually been, especially here in North America. We're in, a business now where we're like, people need people like this more than ever. They need to take care of themselves. And talking about practice love every single day, practice love every day is something that came to me a long time ago. And it was kind of through this process of how can we continue doing what we're doing while, providing the service that we want to provide. We're in a service type business. So like, something we also learned was that we need to show up every single day. We can't make money unless we're there. And that's a different type of business. And we can talk a little bit more about that, Mia. I know you and I talked about that on the hike, of the service type, or are you creating a product, and then we also created a space. So like, now we're like, how can we make money without being there? Because that's something that's important to us as well too, because you will really burn yourself out, and you can only get to a certain point in doing that, because we can only shoot one thing a day. I can only do one job a day, essentially, like that. So that becomes a whole other situation. That's why we've progressed into the things that we are progressing into. And there's a couple other things that we have in the works. As you said, as entrepreneurs, there's always, the wheels are always going, and there's always businesses in the back of our mind. And obviously executing that is the hardest part, and executing businesses is incredibly hard, and to actually scale them to a point of like what we have, or what you have with your bracelets and necklaces, to then having a massive warehouse, like going back to Tesla and Elon, like the type of scaling that you do to that, the amount of employees is incredible. And it's so difficult to do, but thank God there are people who are willing to take those risks to do that, because we need that. There's no economy without us. Like, there truly is no economy without entrepreneurs. And that's why we think it's so cool that we get to run our own business, create our own stuff, do what we want to do,
and be of service.
And be of service is what that's it, is what we're doing. And eventually we really want to progress into this place where we can help people practice love every day. In the sense of what we mean by practice love every day is usually going back to self-love, because the more you practice self-love, the more love you have to give, and ideally receive as well.
I think the two of you are a huge inspiration to my family. I'll say that, like, aside from this pod, just watching how you conduct yourself and how you interact with other people, and seeing how you intertwine that with your like clientele or your customers, and how well you speak of them. I think that's a big inspiration to me. I've been around entrepreneurship a long time, but to see that is amazing. And I think Mia even had a question a little bit about, your photography and your processes and that. So do you have a question about their individual businesses? How about you take the mic for a little bit? So
All right. So I actually had a question. Do you have any hobbies or passions outside of business that you love?
Yeah, it's interesting, because I feel like kind of the journey we've taken is any passion that we have, we want to offer it to the people that we love. So it's kind of become, in a way, business, but not operating like a business, if you know what I mean. It doesn't feel like a business, because it's
a passion.
Yeah, it's passion. And it's just, I think that's even how our photography grew, is like, yes, I wanted to be a photographer and we love the business, but it's the people, it's the connection, it's the feeling that you get when you're with people. And that's just kind of branched into, yoga was a passion. And then it was like, well, why not share this with the people that I love? Why not create a space for people who want to come and do yoga with us? And then that branched into Reiki, and Reiki became such a passion and has changed my life. And it's like, well, why would I not offer that to people that I love? And that led into human design readings. And again, why would I not want to share that with people? So I think a lot of the passions that we have, we do offer to be in service, because being in service is, I think, just kind of who we are as people. But outside of that, hiking, we love hiking and traveling, living full-time RV life, and just being out in nature. I think is really where most of my passion lies outside of the things that we offer.
I'm going to jump back in there because the full-time RV life, obviously a lot of our subscribers and people know that we are full-time RVers, but we don't talk about it much because we want to make it more about the guests. But it's a unique opportunity that you are doing a similar lifestyle than us. So before we get into some of your next questions here, tell me about the full-time RV life for the people that are listening at home, because it's not for everybody, but it fits your schedule, it fits how you guys work, it's fitting how we work right now. But tell us a little bit about what it's like to be a full-time RV. I don't know if our listeners at home get a chance to hear that.
Yeah, it's amazing. And most often we mention it to people, as I'm sure you guys get this as well too. You're like, oh, you're living the dream. Like, that's amazing. That's so awesome. But it comes with sacrifice, and it comes with having to, when we sold our 3,000 square foot home, we had 2 acres, we had a beautiful property. We were half an hour to Allie's parents, 2.5 hours from my parents, close to family, all these different types of things, which was amazing. Yet we still felt like there was a void in us. Like you said, we travel a lot and we love to be in different places, but from a mental, physical, talking about like our health, something I've learned along my journey is the importance of vitamin D and sunlight. Biophotons that we get from the sun is the most important thing that we can have. And it's so good for our mood. It's so good for our overall mitochondrial function, our metabolic system, everything bases around that sun. I'm a grower as well too. I think, as you guys know, if we didn't have the sun, let's just put it this way, none of us would be here. So to follow the sun is truly a dream. So when people say that, I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like, it's really cool to do that, but it comes with sacrificing of space. Thankfully for us, we are seasonal in our work. So like Ali says, most of our work is in the summertime for photography. We shoot weddings for the most part. And we're trying to find ways of how we can now fit our lives into this so that we can come down here. But it was also an opportunity for us to possibly move, because we're like, we love different parts of the United States, especially here where we are right now is in Arizona. We love this area for many reasons, including the sun. It's the sunniest state in all of North America. And to be here, to like, especially Allie being pregnant right now, it was such a decision that was based around her comfortability and her, to be outside and get in her belly in the sun and all these kinds of things. So it was like, we couldn't do that any other way. We can't just rent a place down here and rent a place. Like, it'd be very expensive, but it's also very difficult and daunting, because like trying to find rentals every 6 months is difficult. I actually have brothers who did it for a long time. They were doing it all the time. They'd come down to Arizona, they'd go back to Muskoka, back and forth. And it got to them after a while of trying to find a new place every 6 months. This way we get to bring our home. Like, we have our bed, we have our sheets, we have our pots and pans, and, we get to travel. We get to bring Yogi with us. She travels the whole way with us, which is so cool. And we always say now, like, no matter what, like, rig life is a part of our life, no matter what we do. If we have a home or a property at some point, we'll always have a trailer, because being able to have this, being able to share this with our family, like, we have our little one on the way and we can't wait to share this with her. Like, we actually lived in a big home. We had the property, we had all the things, and many times over we'd have family members or friends be like, oh, like, it's a nice bedroom for a little baby, all this kind of stuff. And everyone's, pushing us in this direction, thinking like, maybe you guys are ready to start thinking about having kids now. And oddly enough, being in rig life, we made that decision because of that. And it felt better for us to do that now.
Yeah, it's brought a lot of blessings to our life. We always say rig life. I think, and
You
even in
guys.
your question, it's allowed us to slow down a little bit more and manage our time differently. Be able to focus on passions, to go back to school, to learn herbal medicine, to get into holistic nutrition. It has allowed us to be healthier. We've noticed our nervous systems are more regulated. We can follow the sun. We can be mobile. We can spend more time with family. We've minimized our life. And I think that's the hard part for a lot of people to see, because you minimize your space, but it's also minimizing time and stress and allowing us to, as Nick said, kind of travel, follow the sun, and be in places that feel in alignment for us and inspire us. And we've just noticed that we've gotten healthier in full-time rig life, and it's allowed us to kind of focus on new passions and where we want to go next. And yeah, it did show us that we wanted to have a family. So It's
Be
brought a
more
lot of
intentional.
blessings to
I think
us,
that's what
yeah.
it is. Being more intentional with our time is like how we now organize our time, not feeling like, because when we were back home in Ontario, and you guys can tell us a little bit how you feel about this as well too. When we're back in Ontario, it feels like we don't have much time. You know what I mean? It feels like from the next place to the next place, especially when we were shooting. We, at the height of our photography business, we were shooting 40 plus weddings in a season, plus several other engagement sessions, plus hosting workshops, plus, you know, engagement shoots and family photo shoots, and then having a life of seeing our friends and family. So we're up to Sudbury, going to Barrie, we're in Toronto every other day. And it was like, it's just, we didn't have time. We didn't have time to just like relax. And so now it's like, we get to wake up, we get to have a cacao together, we get to do some yoga, you know, we get to go outside and do some grounding, we take Yogi for a walk. It doesn't feel like we're in such a rush because we've been more intentional with our time and everything that we have around us. We had to like, you know, go from having this space of all these beds and all this furniture and all these things to now it's like, what really matters to us? What's most important to us? And it's everything that's in this rig right now. And probably even more. I mean, there's stuff in here that we could probably not have and we'd be fine. But, you know, you start to pile up things, I'm sure, as you guys know. But it's very intentional living, which is very important for us, is, you know, the things in your life and the people in your life. The people in your life is the most important for sure, and the experiences that you're having with them. But the things aren't as important. You don't need as many things. And I think rig life really shows that to us. And being in a place like this, we get to be like, where do we want to be? What feels good to us? You know, we were in Florida for a season and it was nice, but like it didn't totally resonate with us. And then we came to Arizona and we were just like, it felt like home. Like this felt like somewhere we wanted to be. And that's a choice that you get in rig life. That intention of saying, hey, what land feels good to us? There's an energy, as you all know, these mountains have energy in them. Everything around us has energy. The people who are around, there's an environment, there's a community, and we get to pick that, which is just so cool in rig life.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Mia, I know you have a couple other questions here. And we're not used to, sometimes when we have this pod, we have one guest. So because we have two, I want to be mindful of your time and the viewers at home. So you got a couple other questions that you have?
So I have a few since we brought up having a baby on the way. What is your plan for balancing work life and family life?
It's a
Good
very
question.
good question. Yeah, I think rig life really showed us that we wanted to have a family because we could have more balance, especially with me being home. I was so busy working before back in Ontario, and you know, you have to work a certain amount to keep up with your expenses and to pay your bills and your home. And I think for us, it was the choice that if we sold our home, we had a nest egg, we shifted, it would allow me to be at home more. And to focus on other things that I could do from a space of being with our family, you know, raising our kids, but also contributing and having my own passions and contributing to our family as well. So our plan is to stay in rig life because we feel like the most important thing for us too, having a family, is being outside, being grounded, slowing down, being intentional. So our plan is to stay in our rig. Plan is to be able to take as much time as I can in the first year, especially of giving myself a little bit of a mat leave. That was a big decision in selling our house as well. You know, being self-employed, those are certain things you don't get. So selling our house was a big decision to be able to give me time in the first year to just be at home and transition into motherhood and raise our family. And we'll see what's next. I think we're just focused on this next year of balancing becoming new parents and seeing what that's all about, and being able to spend time with our families back home, and also combining our love of travel and taking her to places that we really connect with, and see what happens from there.
That's exciting.
Also, I have another one. Either of you guys can answer this actually, because you guys probably both have different sides, or maybe the same. What are you most excited about regarding parenthood?
Also a good question. And as Ali said, we made this decision to have time with our child. And that's something that we've thought about a lot. We've been together for a long time. We've been together since 2012 and married since 2016. So, you know, getting to this point of becoming parents was very intentional for us. We definitely thought about it often. It wasn't something that we took lightly, in a sense that we just wanted to do it because that's what you do. And that's, I think, something people fall into often, but being able to make this decision was to give us time to have family experiences, to be able to really just like take in this little being that's going to be in our lives. Like oftentimes we've been doing little things of just trying to figure out what we're most excited for. Like we have an incredible midwife here who asks us these questions, like what are the feelings that you're going to have during birth, and what are the feelings you're going to have, in that 4th trimester postpartum. And it's literally just like being able to just be there and be mesmerized by this little being that is literally inside her right now. She's here right now. We just can't see her.
This is her first podcast.
This is her first podcast, which is pretty big for her. But we, just to have that time, as Ali said, to be in nature with her, show her the great outdoors. Everything comes back to what's natural. That's like the natural way of living is something that we really like. I lived in Toronto for many, many years. And when I wasn't in Toronto, I was in New York, and I was in Tokyo, I was in Miami, and like some of these big cities in Milan. And I thought that's what I wanted for a long time. And as we grew up and grew older, it was like, no, we want like that. That's your fast pace. Going back to the Ontario energy is like fast pace, one thing to another, and you're living in these concrete jungles. But like to be back outdoors in nature, feet in the ground, and just enjoying the present moment. That's something we really want to do with our little baby that's on the way.
I'm excited also to experience a new level of us too. Like as a family, it's been us for so long, and I'm excited to have a family and for us to be different on that side and see who we are as parents together and as a family together. I'm excited for that.
That's amazing. I've been fortunate enough to go on hikes with you, and I can totally see you with the baby going and Yogi going alongside you, your beautiful dog. So I can't wait. What else is on your mind, Mia?
So I also wanted to know, what are your goals for the future in photography, healing, modeling, and beyond? Like anything.
Really good question.
Yeah, really nice, Mia. They all kind of work together, as Ali said. And as Jimmy mentioned, is that there's always ideas flowing, and it's how things fit into each other. It's like, photography will always kind of be there for us. We always feel that it was our original passion, something we both really, really loved. And
you're amazing at it, so that helps too. So.
Thank you. It's always going to be a part of us. I don't think it never felt like it's one or the other. I think that's the most beautiful part about being an entrepreneur. Like we know that photography is going to be a part of our life, whether it's something that's paid or it's something that we're doing for the people that we love, capturing our own life moments, our children, our family. That's always going to be there. So
that was always important to us, was like being able to like, I remember saying like, we want to have a really nice camera one day for when we have kids, so we can just take these amazing family photos. And like, fast forward, all of a sudden we have a bunch of really nice cameras and nice lenses and the whole situation. So like there will be some photos being taken, and that's something we look forward to and something we're grateful to be able to do. But as I said, it's definitely always going to be there for us. We are starting to downsize that a little bit. We aren't taking on as much work as we once did. It's a lovely thing that we get to do for friends. We've actually captured many friends' weddings and family members' weddings. Shot my brother's wedding back in 2022, and it was actually one of the most incredible experiences in our photography world. We've shot over 300 plus weddings now, and that was definitely one that we will never forget, and was just so special for us.
Now I think it's more focusing on balancing into health and wellness is more of our goals now.
Yes.
For me, it's shifting into energy work, like connecting with my energy work, having more time towards that. I think especially being in spaces for women and children is something that I've really been wanting to know more, especially with herbal medicine. And the more that I'm learning in this stage of pregnancy and motherhood, it makes me more passionate about that space of how women are treated and how mothers are treated, and creating that space for women and children. So that's my goals moving forward. And
that's something that Ali should definitely be doing, because every time she talks about it, like I get the goosebumps, and I'm like, so that you have to do
that.
This
actually brings up a follow-up question for me before we go back to Mia's wrapping up, and I'll begin to wrap up here in a second. Is everything that you're into, whether it's picking a wedding photographer, it's a very personal thing. These are photos that are going to be in your family forever that you're going to go back to, or if it's energy work that you do and everything, all of the things that you seem to be into seem to have been deep rooted in a personal connection with your clientele or the people that you get to meet in your journey. can you share like, you don't have to say names or anything, but can you share, like, because it's those moments when you're an entrepreneur that, like, it's like, man, we're doing the right thing. Can you give our audience at home, like, one of those that stand out, like when either a wedding just came out perfect and it was like the most beautiful thing, or you've done some energy work and somebody's been suffering with some things, and maybe you know, it was a breakthrough in where the trajectory of their life goes, because that's very important. You deal with a lot of traumas and stuff like that. So could you share something that, like, you know, just one of those moments that at the end of the day you were just like, wow, like,
Yeah.
Gosh, I feel like we've had so many of them.
There's lots, and honestly, it's something with, I'll give you like a broad spectrum of a few different things. With photography and shooting weddings, like we say, it's something that's, you know, it's physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Like, we are connected to our couples more than I think the average photographer, not to take away from the average person, but we really like to connect right from that first inquiry.
I see that and I feel it, like right in this room. Like, people can't feel right now. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
People can't feel the energy in here right now, but whenever you're around the two of you, there's that energy, and we happen to be just outside of Sedona. So, but carry on. Sorry.
Yeah, it's, you know, we become an extension of the family for those moments. And, you know, we've shot so many weddings, and by the end of wedding season, we are honestly so drained in all of those ways I just mentioned. Like I said, it's not just the physical, it's not just the mental, it's all these different things, and it's the emotions that run so high. You know, sometimes on weddings days, it's so much happiness, but sometimes there's more to it. Sometimes they may have lost a family member, or, you know, something not so nice may have happened prior to that wedding or something like that. So we are connected. We are feeling these moments as they're literally happening. And then at the same time, these wonderful couples of ours, who some of them have become very close friends of ours, literally some of our best friends. We met them first through work, and, you know, capturing these photos, sometimes they'll give you a shout out during a speech or something like that. And we've had couples literally go on about us for like 10 minutes in their speech, and we're like, what is, like, we were just sitting there in awe, and we're like, wow, this was unexpected, but like, how special, you know what I mean? Like, you're literally broadcasting your love for us on your day about, you know, on your wedding about us, which was just so unexpected, but, you know, by the end of
humbling to receive.
So humbling. And literally by the end of every wedding, we walk away, always in the car, we're driving home, and we're just on cloud nine. We're like, if we got to do this for the rest of our life, like, that's okay.
Oh,
like,
you're exchanging I love yous, you're holding hands,
hugging,
you're
like,
connecting with families, parents, grandparents. It's like, you know,
so
such
special.
a deep thing. So I think there's so many in weddings, and I would say in energy work, it's similar. And also even, I think, more intimate sometimes in ways, because again, you're connecting, like you said, with some people who have gone through very serious traumas, you know, people who have loved ones who have crossed over. And that's been, I think what photography taught us so much was like so much about life and love and human connection, which just propelled more passions into other areas, which has gone into, you know, holistic nutrition and energy work. And I can honestly say sessions that I've had with people has been to sit with someone in that energy, to have tears together, you know, to have someone come through with a message, for them to have a breakthrough moment. There's things that on my end, I'm like, I don't know if this makes sense. I don't know if this is going to resonate. And then to be with someone and sit in that space and to have that connection, and then for both of us to feel that validation, is a really beautiful experience that, keeps making us want to do it over and over and over again.
To be validated, like when you come out of the bedroom and you're like, we just had that same experience, we saw the same things, I'm always blown away. Like, Ali is an incredible Reiki master, and she's been doing it for not even that long of a time, but she's definitely wise beyond her years in that world. And it's really fascinating to be able to connect with people in that sense, because, as we said, health and wellness is something that's very important to us. It's something that we're super passionate about. And
Nick's the physical man. We say I'm like in the ethers, and Nick's in the physical realm. So he's all the food. Yeah. He's been nourishing me this entire time being pregnant, knowledge of food, and
that's part of who we are.
Exercise
part of
and movement.
Our constitutions, ancient Ayurveda. Ali is very much a air and ether type person. I'm very much more of a fire and water type person. So I'm meant to be physical, like, and we've done some amazing retreats where people walk away and they're just blown away. So we've hosted a handful of retreats, and we've done some personal retreats for people, actually for wedding clients. We've done bachelorettes and stuff like that, which is just so cool. And to finish those, and people are just like in a different state, you know, and weddings are fun, and usually more fun by the end of the night. People are having drinks and they're just throwing I love yous out there all the time, but to be in like such a intimate space where there's no alcohol, there's nothing, you're just like, it's just so one-on-one, it's so intimate, and for people to still stand there and say how much they love us and say how incredible it was to share this experience, and for them to
In a vulnerable space, I would say
super
too.
vulnerable. Yeah, it's more vulnerable in this state because, as we know, like, it's not easy to be vulnerable with people when you're not intoxicated. It's a little bit easier when you're in that space, but like, this has been a part of our journey for a long time, and part of our journey has becoming actually sober. We've been sober for over 5 years now, and we realize how much more profound these experiences are when you're not under an influence, and to experience these things more in this level is what life is about. You know what I mean? To have an experience like, a incredible yoga retreat, to then move into a life experience like birth, which I'm just like beyond, like, I can almost tear up thinking about it, because it's like this insane thing that's going to happen for us, and it's going to change our life for the rest of our lives.
It is so incredible. One day you might be sitting beside your daughter and be lucky enough to be
like,
having this fantastic.
maybe it's you guys
You
right now
guys are
giving
so
me this.
inspiring
It's
to
like-
us. It's like
And we got a baby girl on the way, and it's like, man, you flash forward, and all of a sudden she's 13, and you're a podcast host. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
seeing your
wild.
family
It's-
connections, meeting you. I think that's another thing that really Rig Life has taught us. Seeing families on the road, being a unit, really going back to family values, which I think something that has been lost in more of our society today. It's so beautiful to see families that spend time together. And yeah, we're in smaller spaces. Even that in itself is so inspiring, that we're spending time together, and seeing and meeting you guys and seeing your family has been a huge inspiration for us, and a big reason as to why I think we are very inspired to want to have a family of our own.
Rig families are the inspiration for us, for sure, to have a family, but to have it in the rig. And you guys have been probably the top contender for that, because you guys have, a family of 4 with a little pup as well too. And as Ali said, you're in an intimate space, you're so close, minimal distractions, but just experiencing the road and experiencing different places, taking
things
yourself
that-
out of your
yeah.
comfort zone. You know what I mean? You lived in one place for so long, and I think this is something that you guys don't understand. And we try to tell your other one, Matthew, he loves it, but like I say, like, you're gonna get older one day, and you're gonna realize how special this was, man. I know you're excited to do all these other things, and great, have time with your friends, party, do that kind of stuff, but there's gonna be times you're gonna look back and you'll be like, man, I can't believe, like, we lived in a trailer and we were traveling through North America, just the 4
All
of
the
us.
experiences you're giving your kids are incredible.
Yeah, we're very blessed. And I think one of the quotes, or one of the things that I read one time, and I don't know how accurate the stat is, but it was enough to kind of trigger something in me, was 75% of the time you spend with your kids is gone by the age of 12, and 90% is gone by 18.
That's crazy.
And now that I look back at this, and we've been full-timing for 3 years now, it's like we put the odds up in our favor. When you average everything out, we spend a lot of time with the
Good
kids, but it's
idea.
been beautiful, because you get
It's
to know
incredible.
what they're like, and what they're about, and what they're into, and see them interacting with people. So I'm looking forward to that for you too, with your new baby along the way. She's going to be amazing in this lifestyle, I can tell. I said a couple times that I wanted to wrap up, but I do want to make sure you got all of your questions in before I just go to a couple of things to talk to the audience at home and provide some value for them. Is there anything that's been kind of burning? Did you get to most of the questions?
I think when you guys were talking, you answered a lot of my questions already. So I don't think I really have anything else that I...
Okay, so to bring it back into entrepreneurship, and yes, we did talk about practicing love, and I think that's so important. Health and wellness in any business. If you're healthy, you're going to be better at business. You're going to be better at relationships. You're going to be better at everything. For people at home that are thinking about starting as entrepreneurs, we have a diverse audience that are watching. So what would you recommend for people that are looking to get into entrepreneurship and thinking is trying something new? Is there any advice you would give them?
That's a good question. It's definitely something that if it is a fire burning in someone, that means you're meant for it. Something I wanted to say before was that it's not for everybody. There's only 10% of the people in this world, less than perhaps, are entrepreneurs. The other 90 are working for entrepreneurs, or they're working for the government, and that's okay too. So like, being an entrepreneur isn't necessarily always for people. I would like to think that most people can still do it, but what we were talking about is finding a passion of something that you really enjoy, so you get to enjoy what you do for your work. not to say give away time, but we work so much in our lives, and that time is so special and it's so important. And you don't want to do it you don't want to spend it on something that you don't entirely love doing. So finding something that you're going to love doing, and whether it is a job, whether it is whatever it might not be, a job that you created, allow that to be something that you are passionate and very much love. And then also, like, there's so much that's been created in this world, and there's so much, saturation in different markets, and people get afraid, even like photography, like us, we had people tell us, you're like, oh, photography is a great passion or a great, side, whatever, like hobby. We had that actually a lot. It's a great hobby, but it's not really a business. And you're like, well, we'll try to find a niche of how we can create this experience. When we were just talking about, if you connect with these people, that's going to be the experience, because sometimes it's not just about the person sometimes it's not just about taking photos. It's the person creating the experience. As a model, I've been on the other side of the camera, and I know that there's a comfortability factor of having your photo taken. There's a lot of people who really don't like having their photo taken. So we have to give an experience to people to allow them to feel comfortable, to allow them to be themselves in front of the camera so that they can be their best self. But yeah, find a need, like find something that isn't really out there that's required. Like there's, we're heading into a new world, and there's different things that are going to be in need. And I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head, and I'm sure Jimmy, you probably know more with AI and the quantum stuff that's on the way, but there's things that I'm sure kids can find nowadays that people are interested in.
Well, it's
that they
following
can
a
find
passion.
in.
Like you said, I think it's passion. I would
That's most
recommend, like, if you have a
important, for
passion,
sure.
it's been placed in your heart for a reason. And I would also recommend surrounding yourself with really good people, because I think that's the biggest part of entrepreneurship. It's a emotional roller coaster being an entrepreneur, for sure. It's a big life shift when you're used to, I was employed before I was self-employed, and you do have more of this stability emotionally and mentally with knowing your paycheck is coming in and how much, and that's a big thing to take away, and all of a sudden be self-employed and you are working for yourself and you're dependent on yourself. That's a big emotional journey to take. So I think it's really important to have people who we talked about and have families and friends. It's so important to surround yourself with supportive people. And to have confidence in yourself and know that there's going to be mistakes. You're going to make so many mistakes on the journey.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But that's also how you learn. I think that's like the biggest thing to remember.
And experiencing different stuff. Something I actually meant to say was that, like, I had tons of jobs before. I actually, it seemed like I just jumped right into modeling and I never did anything else, but I worked for several other businesses. And growing up, just to kind of circle back to high school, like, I was a very independent person, and I struggled to some degree to listen to some people. Like, I worked for a lot of jobs, but as I was working for these jobs, I was like, well, I would probably do it this way. It feels weird. You're telling me to do this, and I didn't really like that, but like, that helped me learn. Maybe perhaps I'm supposed to do something on my own, and I will do it that way. Like, this is your business. I had to respect someone else's business, and you were going to run it this way. But like, you're going to learn through whatever it may be. You want to get into jewelry and bracelets, go work for a jewelry company for a little bit and see how they run it, or if you're interested in whatever it may be, you want to start your own RV park or whatever, go work at an RV park for a bit, see how someone else runs their business, and allow that to inspire you and pick out pieces that you like, and then things that you can bring into it to make it your own.
And I would also say, if you can, work with your partner, because I do think that has been a really amazing thing. Like, I don't think I would have stayed. I know I probably would not have stayed in photography as long as if I didn't have Nick by my side. He's been the biggest support through this journey, and it was so busy, like, in those years. And I think being able to do it together, if you have a partner that whether it's a business partner or it's your partner in life. For us, it happened to be both, that we can be, life partners and business partners, and it works for us. It's not always easy, but I think it is if you can, and it's something that's desirable for you as a couple, I do really think it's amazing, because you learn a deeper side to one another. It's a beautiful journey to take together as well.
That's a testament, though, to your strength as a couple as well, to be able to do that, because you're not only in small space of RV life, you're working with each other every day, you're doing yoga with each other on your off times, you're with each other all the time. And so I'm going to say it's not always recommended to get in business with
No, we hear it often. We hear people say, you guys are crazy. Like,
it either works or it doesn't, it seems.
But if you are at home listening to this now, watch them, follow them online, which I'll get to in a minute, where you can find out about all the magic that they create. But really, I think what they said is important is follow your passion, because we only have a certain amount of time on this world, and there's no rehearsals. So do something you love and just continue to do it.
And with the people you love potentially as well. Maybe it's your partner, maybe it's a close friend, maybe it's something that, you build the community of people who you want to be around. Like, ideally you want to be around
people you trust
and people you love. That's very important. And yeah, I
practice love every day.
Yeah, practice love every day. And that kind of comes to the close. And is there a positive message or a vibe or something that you would like to say to our audience at home? Just about practicing love every day. Like, is there a small step that they could take with them at the end of this? Like, the whole idea of this is, en route to discovery. So if somebody's going to discover that next step to practicing love every day or health and wellness, I'll ask both of you this. What's a little short thing that people can start? Because it has to be small steps sometimes, because if you think too much, you get overwhelmed. So where would you say to start something like that? Some positive message that you can put out to the world that will live forever.
I mean, I think trusting your intuition is the biggest part. And the more we get to trust our intuition is the more we get to trust ourselves. And the more we get to trust ourselves is the more love that we put into ourselves. If we are practicing love every single day and we are putting that into ourselves, that means we are in love with ourselves. And that's an okay thing to be. It's okay to absolutely love yourself so much that you have this thought in your mind and you're like, oh man, should I quit my job and start this bracelet business? Like, I don't know, but like, I keep getting this thought that I want to do it. Yeah, do it. Like, that's what it comes down to. And like, if you're somebody like, and I say this often, not to really give the ladder of it, but it's sometimes important to understand, is if you're continuing to abuse yourself, if you're, drinking alcohol and eating lots of bad food and you're not moving your body and surrounding yourself in negative energy, because that's important too. You have to give yourself a border. You have to give yourself these boundaries of like, these people aren't good for me. And eventually being like, I maybe should go hang out with these people, or like, these are important people to hang out with because they inspire me. Creating these boundaries is important. But yeah, the more you give to yourself, the more you'll trust yourself. And the more you trust yourself, listen to your intuition, because your intuition is going to tell you something that you want to do. And it's going to be something that's going to be amazing. It's going to be a passion. It's going to be something that's special to you. And then just give it everything you got.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say, kind of like coming to that self-love, or like, what are small practices that you can do? Like you said, I think it can be really overwhelming to feel like you're overhauling your life and making these big decisions. So I think starting small, of just, giving yourself a few minutes a day to sit down with a journal, or to do a passion that someone loves. If you enjoy yoga, if you enjoy walking, running, whatever it is that feeds your soul, giving yourself a bit of time each day to do something that feels good for you, and then allowing that to grow into more boundaries of self-love for yourself. As Nick was mentioning, what are the relationships that really fuel my soul? Who are the people that value me? What are foods that make me feel good? And I think just taking small steps of really focusing on what actually makes us feel good and taking time for ourselves with things that we love is a great way to start.
Fantastic. That's a great way to end. But the big thing too is you guys create a lot of magic. Where can people learn about you? Where is there a website? Is there something that people can go and get all your links? Where do they follow your journey?
So right now, everyone can find us at our website, which is www.allieandnicholas.com. There's a lot on there, as we have many things that we've been offering. And also at our Instagram, which is at Allie and Nicholas. Nick has his personal, Nicholas Gonko. And I think, the audience could stay tuned that there'll be some new growth coming of a new Practice Love website that's going to come with our healing offerings, and Nick's amazing new journey into holistic nutrition, which he'll be launching soon as well.
It's amazing. Congratulations on all the success. Congratulations on the upcoming baby. The addition journey is going to be amazing.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for your time. I know we're doing this in person here, so it was a little awkward setting everything up because this is still new to us. This is a journey for us as well. And for our people at home, thank you so much for tuning in. This was a great episode, and I don't know if it comes across in the camera, but there's just such love that come out of this couple, and I encourage you to follow them, follow along, and I thank you for following us and listening and giving and spending some time with us here today. Mia, anything you want to say to everybody back home?
Thank you, everyone. It truly means so much to me and everybody else that you're following along and watching our podcast. And thank you so much, and have a great day.
Love you all. Thank you.
Love you guys. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much
This
for
is an
having
amazing
us.
podcast. You two are amazing podcast hosts, and we're just so happy to be a part of this.
So honored.
All right, great. That's a wrap.